CD Projekt Red fucked up. The guys behind Cyberpunk 2077 made a bit of an oopsie. And I'm not talking about the aesthetics of their video game. I've been listening to that argument for a fucking month now. Ever since E3, people have been very vocal about the look of the game. It's far too bright. That's not Cyberpunk. It's not dystopian enough. It's not dark enough. It's not gritty or edgy enough to be Cyberpunk. You can't have fucking sunlight in the future. Cyberpunk is a traditionally non-cyclical 12-hour period of darkness that never fucking ends. According to these people, this is the most cyberpunk game that's ever been created in the history of humanity. Shadow the Hedgehog fits the criteria for what they want in a cyberpunk adventure. I mean, look at the little guy. It's a sentient hedgehog riding a motorcycle with a machine gun through the heart of a city at midnight, fighting a robotic manta ray. One of the main villains in his universe is a mad scientist that kidnaps woodland animals and turns them into robots for no apparent reason. He takes chipmunks and makes them into death machines just because he fucking can. This game universe is dripping with so much edge, it gives Ginsu a run for its money when it comes to chopping through tomato cans. But I'm not talking about their game. I'm not talking about the aesthetics and people having this argument. They're going to have that argument until the game gets released and they play it and they see whether they like it or not. No, they made the cardinal sin. They apologized on the internet. Maybe they're just unaware of the fact that the internet is chock full of hypersensitive cunts these days that can't handle banter or interaction or jokes, that need to be in a hug box and have their feelings protected from any bad negative thoughts that might exist out there in the ether. Hell, it's not just the internet anymore, it's society as a whole. Even the FBI can't stop their vaginas from bleeding. Will somebody, for the love of God, please send these poor agents some Midol? They can't stop crying. Look how upset he is. The recent trend of victimhood being the big new in thing is still continuing. But on top of that, there's the doubling down. It's not just that you get offended, but that you get offended at the apology for having been offended. And in the midst of this kind of mindset, of this online culture, CD Projekt Red decided to apologize. Sorry to all those offended by one of the responses sent out from our account earlier. Harming anyone was never our intention. They may as well have thrown their ass into an active minefield. That is the biggest bait they could have put out on social media. Sorry to have offended anybody is inviting people to tell you how offended and upset they are, and how your apology just isn't enough. And what grave response did they send out there? What hurtful, bullying words of harassment did they let loose upon the populace? Well, it was in response to a user by the name of Ryan. Did you just assume their gender? A fucking attack helicopter joke.
I sexually identify as an attack helicopter.
That was the bridge that was just too far for this group of offended people on the internet. And to their credit, they held out for about 24 hours. The tweet stayed up, but it eventually was deleted and an apology was issued. And of course, anybody with any common sense knows the story doesn't end there. They're still offended. The apology, it's not good enough. It will never be good enough. When you appease these kinds of people, it will never, ever be good enough. But this story is old hat. It's a tale as old as time. We've seen it happen thousands of times on the internet in just the last few years. I'm more interested in the people that got upset. I think it would be educational for all of us to get an idea, to get our hands dirty, to take a look under the hood and see who they are. Let's take a look at these hardcore gamers that got upset about this horrible joke, because I'm sure they're just everyday people like you and me. From Feed Me Gamer Boys, this majorly reads as sorry you were offended, and that is a major non-apology. Something like, we sincerely apologize for the transphobic reply that was originally intended as humor, but now understand the implications of said ignorant joke and intend to do better in the future. We understand if this has harmed your trust in us, but we genuinely intend to do better in the future, and we appreciate the knowledge gained from fans explaining why our comment was harmful. Try harder. You've 100% handed off the blame to anyone offended. And if you look at any of these lovely replies, you see the beautiful gamer culture backing you up for the joke in the first place. Again, try harder. But the mystery remains, who is Feed Me Gamer Boys? I wonder what kind of profile Feed Me Gamer Boys would have. Oh, come on.
No, 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 no.
Avery, 22. He and him and they and them. Pandemisexual, polyam, non-binary, trans catboy. And he's a system. How could CD Projekt Red offend this typical, average, everyday, pandemisexual, polyam, non-binary, trans catboy who also has a head system within his mind? From Moz. Any comment on the harm being done by the people defending your original tweet by dogpiling anyone you offended in the replies here? A boilerplate apology is one thing, but explaining why you were wrong to post it and that it shouldn't be defended is what's actually called for. Translation: you didn't do your apology good enough. Do it again and beg a little bit more. Get on your knees. Get on your knees, CD Projekt Red. Moz wants you on your fucking knees like a dog. Game dev in the making. Trans non-binary. She and they. Well, enjoy your future career, Moz, and hopefully you never make a joke that upsets somebody, or you're going to be on your knees sucking dick begging for forgiveness. Oh wait, can I say that? Can I say on your knees sucking dick? Is that assuming gender? Have I crossed a line here? I don't know. Should I write up a fucking essay about why what I said was wrong and beg for your forgiveness for daring to say it? You hypersensitive idiot. Miss Fat Panda. According to Cyberpunk Game, the way to promote your new game Cyberpunk 2077 is to use derogatory transphobic memes that trivialize and mock transgender people. Strange because Cyberpunk involves the deconstruction of identity norms, which should naturally include gender expression. Well, that's a hot take, Miss Fat Panda. Do you think maybe that deconstruction of identity norms might have to do with the fact that people are, I don't know, cybernetic in nature? Maybe the identity issues have to do with robots and shit, rather than the fact that you feel like you're a polyamorous ponykin. There might be a little bit of differentiation between the two. Super high-tech robotic future, and you in a stable dressed as a horse, trying to convince people that you eat hay and that's natural. From Lesbian Wolf Mom. A mealy-mouthed non-apology like this makes one thing very clear. The developers of Cyberpunk 2077 are entirely comfortable with the kind of joking transphobia and bigotry their social media team has displayed, and see no problem with the joke. They're sorry, we're offended. Well, let's find out who that we is. Do you want to place bets before I switch over to show you who Lesbian Wolf Mom is?
Hi, I'm Ruby, and I'm a furry juggalo.
I'm dead. I'm a juggalo furry.
Is that fair? If this were Vegas, would I be stealing your money? Lesbian Wolf Mom. Disabled cyborg dyke, trans white, poly and plural, switchy siren, she, her, and all the cool polycules. Literally a wolf belongs to our Charlotte Smith.
On all levels except physical, I am a wolf.
I'm starting to notice a trend here, a bit of a common theme running throughout all these profiles. It almost seems like the more offended a person gets at a simple, straightforward joke, the more batshit insane their description of themselves happens to be on social media. When you read through the bulk of the replies, when you look through the most offended individuals in relation to the tweet that CD Projekt Red had put out, you'll notice quite a few furries and non-binary individuals. And that's not even touching upon the user base at other websites that are talking about this same thing, like Reset Era. If you want a really good laugh, head over to their thread about this, their 40-page thread about this, the thread in which you are instantly banned if you even so much as question if you should be offended about it. Their moderation staff is basically about 100 clones of Stanley Rue from the BioWare forums. The thread is a literal killing field of people accidentally not going along with the narrative that this is the worst, most transphobic shit that's ever been uttered on the internet. So I think if there's a takeaway lesson from all of this, it's if you piss people off on the internet and you're considering should you apologize or should you not apologize, pick a profile at random out of the group of people that seemingly are angry at you. And if that person is a furry, don't apologize. Just a little checklist. Are furries angry at me? Yes, no. Do they have pronouns listed on their profile? Yes, no. Do they consider themselves a living incarnation of a wolf? Yes, no. Just make a handy little list filled with all the crazy shit a normal person would never say. And if you see that on their Twitter profile or on their social media profile and they're demanding you do something, just fucking ignore them.